Hi everybody, I'm David Hanna from Cornerstone and welcome to our video, What to Consider Before Buying an Investment Property. Well, the first consideration you should make before buying an investment property is what you want out of it. Are you investing for income? Are you investing for capital return? Or are you investing for both? Many people see investing in property as a way to top up their pension or provide for a secure retirement. And so, depending on where you are on the age scale, you may have an immediate need for income, or you may be content to defer it for 5 or 10 years and rely on capital appreciation. Assuming you're investing for income, then what you're clearly looking for in an investment property is the kind of property that is not going to require too much repair or improvement in order to get it and keep it in a lettable condition. The second factor is, who is your target tenant? Are you willing to take a slightly lower rent from a longer term tenant who is going to look after the property with you or for you? Or do you want to go for higher rental with a higher turnover of tenants, which is likely to lead to higher dilapidations and the possibility of voids and loss of rent? Ultimately, in my experience, it's been, shall we call the more mature tenant who has tended to look after properties, and you might be tempted to give them a few % off the market rate if they become a long-term tenant, because they're giving you security of income and the safety and the knowledge that your property is being cared for. If, on the other hand, you're not bothered about income in the short term, you might want to consider looking at properties that show the potential for appreciable capital growth. And this can come in two forms. First of all, buying the classic fixer-upper opportunity and making improvements to it. Second, buying a property that's suitable for subdividing into flats. And again, this can be a popular way to maximise the value out of an old, large, rambling Victorian house. The other area where you can do this, of course, is to buy commercial property that has permitted development rights to convert into dwellings. And again, invest your money in converting it and then attracting the right kind of tenants. Ultimately, and one of the more speculative plays in long-term growth, is to identify a property that has development value embedded in it. Consider a house with a very large garden or additional land that you believe you might be able to get planning permission on. These are all long-term plays. It can often take 5 years to get planning permission in order to provide extra dwellings in the garden of a house, and you've got to be particularly careful about how you go about it. But the upside is that you can go from agricultural land, say at 10,000 an acre, to residential development land at up to $1 million an acre. So there's scope for considerable growth there. But let's assume for the moment that we're just buying an existing house. Well, buying a house is a bit like buying a car, except that it doesn't come with a warranty. So you want to make sure that it's been MOT'd, so you have it surveyed, and I don't just mean a valuation survey. You walk around it, you look for cracks, you look for subsidence. If you see anything you're not sure of, it's worth investing in a proper survey to make sure that you're not buying a nail where the end wall is going to fall off a couple of years after you buy it. Having underpinning work and reconstruction work done can be inconvenient and costly, even if you have insurance. And of course, for all the time a building like that's out of use, you're not getting rent. Be careful about where you buy. A friend of mine who has been a property investor for the last 25 years has always said, never buy anything you can't walk or drive past at least once a week. Why? Well, obviously, if you have to go and inspect the property, the more regularly you can do it, the earlier you can spot problems with the property or with the tenant occupying the property and take steps to correct. Relying on agents, as good as they are, to regularly inspect your property this frequently is unrealistic. He indeed had a policy of not buying any property that was more than 5 miles from where he lived, which I thought was a bit narrow and parochial, but actually kind of makes sense. He bought in his own community. He had very, very early warning when people were thinking of selling a property, people were looking to rent property, or shops or offices, and by a bit of savvy purchasing and steady refinancing, he eventually ended up owning half his local high street and all the flats above it. Dominating the world is not the right way to start in property investing. Maybe just dominate your local street or the street over. These have just been a few basic tips about investing in property and where to start. Everybody has got a story, everybody has got a formula, and I'm always interested in hearing other people's perspectives on this. Mine has been gathered over listening to hundreds of clients of different sizes over the years, and indeed my wife, who's a buy-to-let investor herself. And everybody seems to have a different twist on what's a good and not so good idea. If you'd like to contribute your story, you can leave it in the comments below this video. But also please click like and subscribe, and then you'll have notifications about other videos that we're going to produce about the UK property market and indeed stamp duty, which is what we're best known for. And in the meantime, take care, consider it carefully, and invest well, and live happy. Thank you.